where the Mekong flows slowly, as if reluctant to leave the limestone mountains still veiled in morning mist, where the golden stupa of Fa, that Luang quietly catches the first rays of the day. There lies a country the world has come to know as the cheapest nation on earth. A cold beer for under $2, a filling street meal for just $1 to $3. But behind that low price are women of quiet, understated beauty needing no ostentation. And deeper still lies a secret buried beneath the earth, one heavy enough to completely change how you view a nation. This is Laos, where the most precious thing has never been printed on any banknote. 1. The country, missing from the tourist map. Ask 10 friends and see how many can name a single Laotian city besides Vientiane. Not many. Laos is the only country in Southeast Asia without a single meter of coastline, landlocked and hemmed in by China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and Myanmar. Its land area isn't small, either roughly the size of the US state of Utah, yet it's home to only about 7.7 to 8 million people, making it one of the smallest economies in the region, with a GDP per capita just over $2,000 a year. The capital, Vientiane, sits quietly on the banks of the Mekong, the brown river that has fed this land for thousands of years. And here's an interesting fact. This is one of the youngest nations on the continent, with most of the population under 25. So while the rest of the world has nearly forgotten Laos exists inside it, there's a country full of young people quietly living quietly, building their lives along that same river. And perhaps precisely because it's never become a hotspot, like Thailand or Vietnam, Laos has held on to something its neighbors are gradually losing, a rhythm of life that's entirely its own, not performed for anyone watching. Where are you watching this video from? Drop your city in the comments and let me know. To the wound the world once looked away from. Before talking more about beauty or peace, there's something you need to understand first, because it explains why the peace here is so precious. From 1964 to 1973, in what became known as the Secret War, the United States dropped over 2 million tons of bombs on Laos, across roughly 580,000 bombing missions, mainly to cut off the Ho Chi Minh Trail. What does that translate to? A bombing run every 8 minutes. Around the clock, 24 hours a day, non-stop for 9 straight years. The total tonnage dropped on Laos exceeded the combined Allied bombing of Germany and Japan during the entirety of World War II. That makes Laos the most heavily bombed country in history per capita, and for decades almost no one outside the country knew it had ever happened. About a third of those bombs, particularly cluster munitions, failed to detonate on impact. They still lie buried in the ground right now as you're watching this video. Organizations like MAG, the Halo Trust, and UXO Lao still sweep the land meter by meter every day, while the Cope Center in Vientiane fits survivors with prosthetic limbs free of charge. And this wound has never fully closed. In early 2025, U.S. foreign aid cuts forced thousands of bomb clearance workers to pause their work, and in the months that followed, more people lost their lives, including children. But the Laotian people have done something I don't think many nations on Earth have managed. They turned the very metal once made to kill into something that sustains life. Bomb casings become flower pots, become rice cooking pots. Cluster munition shells are forged into spoons, into bells hung in temples. Some stilt houses still stand today on posts made from diffused American bomb casings. That's the real secret of Laos, not some treasure or gold mine. A people who endured the heaviest weight of weaponry humanity has ever dropped on a piece of land and turned it into a roof over their heads. Does modern life really make us richer, or does it just make us busier? Leave your thoughts below. 3. The beauty the camera can never fully capture. After everything this country has been through, the first thing anyone notices upon setting foot in Laos is its people, and it begins with a kind of beauty a lens can hardly capture in full. Laotian women aren't beautiful in a way that makes you snap your head around instantly. Bright skin, a warm smile, and unhurried walk, people often call graceful. But what visitors remember isn't the face itself, it's the calm behind it, a kind of stillness that needs to prove nothing to anyone. And that beauty is woven quite literally into something even older than the face, the sin, the traditional tube skirt hand-woven from silk or cotton. The patterns and colors on each sign are never random. Just by looking at one, people can tell which region the wearer comes from, sometimes even her social standing, or the occasion she's wearing it for. In many villages, silk weaving has been women's work passed down through generations, and in the old days, a girl was expected to master the loom before marriage. The cloth she wove served both as her dowry and as proof of her skilled hands. So here, beauty has never been just about the face. It's about what the hands can create. That same care shows clearly in the bachi ceremony, the wrist-tying ritual used to welcome guests. A white cotton thread is tied around your wrist, and according to Laotian belief, everyone carries 32 quan, small guardian spirits, that sometimes wander off and leave a person feeling unbalanced. The thread calls them back and keeps them close. People typically wear it for at least 3 days before removing it. Marriage customs are handled with no less seriousness. Many families still negotiate a bride price in both cash and gold. Weddings are usually held at the bride's family home, and it's far more common for the groom to move in with his wife's family than the other way around. The unspoken rules that catch outsiders off guard. In Laos, one careless misstep literally can offend an entire room. Pointing the sole of your foot at someone or at a Buddha statue is considered deeply disrespectful because the feet are seen as the lowest, least clean part of the body. The head, by contrast, is the most sacred, so you should never touch someone else's head, even a close friend's, a child's, and especially not a monk's. Once you understand this body ranking logic, from most sacred to lowest, all the rules that once seemed strange suddenly fall into order. Every morning before the sun even rises, monks walk barefoot in long lines through the streets, carrying alms bowls, while locals kneel to place small handfuls of sticky rice into each bowl. This is called takbat. It might sound odd at first. Why would grown men depend on the kindness of strangers for breakfast? Because monastic precepts forbid monks from farming or earning money they're only allowed to receive. But that's not helplessness, it's the very heart of the ritual. It binds monks and villagers together in a daily exchange. The giver earns merit, the monk gets food. For many monks, that may be the only meal of the day. And rice, it turns out, is more than food here. Its identity. Laotians call themselves children of sticky rice, eating with their hands, rolling it into small balls for most meals. Woven into this way of life is also the belief in Phi spirits, believed to dwell in rivers, mountains, and even individual trees blended so naturally with Buddhism that you'll often find a small spirit shrine sitting right in the courtyard of a temple. 5. A philosophy of life packed into 3 words. Once you understand all those unspoken rules, you start to see the thread connecting them, a way of living the West lost long ago. That thread has a name, Bo Pen Nyang, roughly meaning, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's practically a national reflex. Plans fall apart. Bo Pen Nyang. Bus running late. Bo Pen Nyang. It's not laziness, it comes from a Buddhist mindset, accepting that you can't control everything, so better not to let it steal your inner peace. About 2/3 of Laotians follow Theravada Buddhism, and that belief seeps into nearly every corner of life. Ethics, art, even the daily rhythm of things. The country is home to nearly 5,000 temples, large and small. And here's the core question at the heart of this whole country in the West. We tend to measure a good life by what we earn, what we own. Here, the noblest act of the most sacred people is owning almost nothing and giving away the little they have. Watching a monk receive his only meal of the day from a stranger's hands, the question turns back on you, who's really poor here in the end. 6. When even the taste tells a story. That same unhurried spirit seeps right into the dinner table. Beerlao has held near total dominance over the domestic beer market for decades, brewed from local sticky rice blended with barley. And the dish considered the soul of the national cuisine is larb, a fiery minced meat salad. The beef version typically uses affordable domestic beef, not the pricier imported cuts many assume. What gives most Laotian dishes their distinctly Lao flavor is padak, a thick fermented fish sauce aged with rice for nearly a year, producing a deep, distinctive base flavor. As for coffee, you'll find it up on the cool Bolivian plateau in the south, where farmers grow most of the country's coffee from varieties the French brought over more than a century ago. 7. Drifting down the Mekong. Vientiane might be the most low-key capital in Southeast Asia. No skyscrapers, no traffic jams, just an unhurried riverside town that happens to run an entire country. At its center stands Pa, that Luang, the golden stupa that serves as a national symbol believed to house relics of the Buddha. Not far away is Patuxai, a victory monument shaped like the Arc de Triomphe, but distinctly Lao in character. At night, the city doesn't roar. It just quietly breathes the riverside night market, lights up with grilled skewers, cold beer, and handicrafts, while friends gather around karaoke microphones. Luang Prabang served as the royal capital until 1975 and became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1995. Golden temple roofs sit right alongside rows of French colonial buildings, faded by time, saffron-robed monks drifting past cafes. Early mornings belong to the almsgiving ceremony with hundreds of monks walking at once. Afternoons call for a climb up Mount Fuxi to watch the sunset over the river. And just outside town, Guangxi Falls cascades into turquoise pools. But UNESCO has also warned that the flood of tourism, combined with a new hydropower dam project nearby on the Mekong, may be threatening the very qualities that make this place special. Vang Vieng was once famous, and also once infamous for riverside bars serving Western tourists floating by on inner tubes. After a string of tourist deaths linked to alcohol and river accidents, authorities shut down a wave of riverside bars in late 2012, forcing the whole town to reinvent itself. Today, Vang Vieng has re-emerged as an adventure and eco-tourism destination, kayaking, rock climbing, hot air balloon rides over its dramatic limestone mountains. But one thing needs to be said plainly: in November 2024, a string of foreign tourists died in Vang Vieng from methanol poisoning caused by counterfeit alcohol. This is a serious warning exercise, extreme caution with cheap unlabeled alcohol when traveling here. Would you trade your city's noise for a quiet evening in a beer garden like this one? Let me know in the comments. 8. A mystery still unsolved. Right in the heart of the land that suffered the heaviest bombing on Earth lies a mystery dating back long before that war, the Plain of Jars. Scattered across the hills of Luang province are thousands of massive stone jars, some weighing several tons, believed to have been carved somewhere between 500 BCE and 200 CE. Archaeologists believe they once served ancient burial rituals, but to this day, no one is certain how people back then managed to move such enormous stone blocks. 9. Rules that catch foreigners off guard. Moving away from matters of the sacred Laos also has a few regulations that surprise plenty of foreigners. Most notably, foreigners who are romantically involved with or living with a Lao citizen without being married can face penalties ranging from fines to deportation, and hotels are required to report unmarried couples of different nationalities staying together. It sounds strict to Western ears, but it stems from a desire to protect Lao families from casual relationships. Beyond the cities, about 70% of Laos remains forest-covered, making it one of the greenest countries in Asia. Further south, where the Mekong fans out into multiple channels, lies Si Phan Don, the 4,000 Islands. Sadly, the rare Irrawaddy dolphins that once lived here have nearly vanished from Lao waters, though a small number still survive on the Cambodian side. In central Laos, the Kong Lor Cave is a limestone tunnel stretching for kilometers, where you can ride a long-tail boat gliding along an underground river that cuts straight through the heart of a mountain. 10. The Price of Modernization. In late 2021, the high-speed railway connecting the Chinese border down to Vientiane officially opened. For a country where a short trip once ate up an entire day, it felt like the future had arrived overnight. But the cost attached gives pause. The railway cost roughly $6 billion, a massive sum relative to the size of Laos's economy, largely financed through loans from China. That's the quiet tension simmering beneath a modernizing Laos rising public debt, with China holding a large share of the country's foreign debt. Alongside that, Laos has placed a big bet on another resource: water. With its mountainous terrain and dense river network, the country has built dozens of hydropower dams and is planning dozens more, chasing its ambition to become the battery of Southeast Asia, selling electricity to Thailand, Vietnam, China, and Cambodia. But that battery has cracks of its own. During the dry season, when river levels drop, Laos itself sometimes has to import electricity back from neighboring countries, and the enormous debt taken on to build those dams has contributed to rising domestic electricity prices, leaving ordinary Laotians struggling with their power bills, even as the light from those dams keeps other countries' cities lit. Here's a small detail that says a lot. Laos got its first Starbucks in 2022 inside a shopping mall in Vientiane. But to this day, the country still doesn't have a single McDonald's, KFC, or Burger King. Global brands are slowly making their way in, but on this country's own rhythm, in no hurry. 11. Many peoples, one land. Laos isn't home to just one ethnicity, but a blend of many. The government officially recognizes dozens of ethnic groups, with estimates suggesting even more smaller groups that haven't been fully documented, making it one of the most ethnically diverse lands in Asia. Each community carries its own language, dress, and beliefs. Some of these beliefs create unforgettable spectacles. Every year before the rainy season, many villages hold the rocket festival, Bun Bang. Phi launching homemade bamboo rockets packed with gunpowder into the sky as a plea to the rain god for a good harvest. Loud, joyful, and deeply alive. 12. Cheap. Cheap for whom? Now, let's return to the word cheapest everyone attaches to Laos. You can live comfortably in Vientiane on about $600 to $1,000 a month, housing included. A street meal costs just $1 to $3, a beer still under $2. For someone earning a Western salary, it truly is cheap. But set against what Laotians themselves earn, the picture flips entirely. The average worker here makes just a few $100s a month. So, cheap, it turns out, is always a question of whose life you're measuring against. And behind those bargain prices lies a real storm. The kip has depreciated sharply from around 9,000 kip to the dollar in 2020 to over 21,000, 22,000 kip to the dollar, now losing more than half its value. Inflation spiked to 30–40% in 2023, though it has cooled considerably in recent years. To a tourist holding dollars, everything looks cheap. But to a Lao family paid in kip, the price of rice, gasoline, and medicine keeps climbing while wages barely move. That pressure has pushed no small number of Lao workers across the border into Thailand in search of jobs, chasing wages the domestic economy still can't match. And yet, even amid these storms, the one thing that hasn't collapsed is what we started this video with Bo Pen Niang. It'll be okay. Closing the thing money can't buy. So is Laos really the cheapest country on earth? Maybe if you only look at the numbers. But that's never been the real story of this land. The truth is, Laos is poor in the things we spend our whole lives chasing, but quietly rich in the things we've lost along the way, in that chase stillness, a sense of belonging and the ability to let go without losing inner peace. This is a country once buried under the heaviest metal ever dropped in human history, and it turned that metal into flower pots, into rooftops. Money can buy almost anything here. But it can't buy the one thing that makes this land unforgettable. If you enjoyed this journey of discovery, don't forget to leave a comment and follow along as we explore the next country, one that's poor on paper too, but quietly rich in everyday life.